Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. First casualty of today is a Makita SDS drill. That's what we're going to start off with. Well, we might start off with it. That's if it can be fixed. When they start doing that, it could be a controller or it could be as simple as a lead. We'll have to see which one it's going to be. So there's a few of these here out here for repair. This one's in a panic, so we're going to have a look at this one first. Says he's using an SDS drill all day long. He's using a corded one now. This one's actually let him down, but up a ladder all day, you just can't really go back to a corded machine, he says. So if we get this working for him fairly quick, he'd be very grateful. So that's what we're going to try and do. Cordless tools, once you go to them, you can't really go back, can you? So, see down here, you have 3 contacts for feeding your brushless motor. Well, we have to see if this will work anyway. One of them's gone. See that there's a wee bit burnt up, discoloured. That's not getting the same contact, so it's not getting the proper reading. It's only 2 lines going onto the field, so that's why she's juttering like that. But this field might look like a different colour. Now this man's a steel fabricator and he's putting up steel sheds. So this thing is getting a hard bit of work. Yeah, there's why. He's burnt the field out as well. So is a new field going to cure this, or will it be a waste of time? For one, need to get rid of that and see if we have another one in stock. Controller itself, hopefully it will be okay. The new spades on the new field hopefully be tight enough as well, that'll not interfere. One new stator, 529187-4, and it's €21 plus the VAT for this thing. Not all that expensive, and that's the way you want her to look. Nice bright windings on it. Now to refit, just try to bend the wires round roughly to where they're meant to be. Try to get them to match up. So they're down in there. So then just connect up your wires. Now if this doesn't work, it will be the controller and it won't be worth fixing. You can also initially test it by actually just fixing that wire first with the old broken stator. Actually tighten up the connection and see if that improves it. If it runs better with a tighter connection, you know a new field will do the job. Just in case you don't want to risk ordering one in, just to find out it doesn't work. The field's melted, or starting to melt, and it's burning, but it's not completely gone, so you'll still be able to get a good enough test out of it. And of course, if this doesn't work, you have to strap it back down again, actually take that stator out. Now, does she work? Look at that. That's her. One burnt out stator. €30 replaces that and gets you up and running again. Now, to be honest, never liked the sound of these SDS drills. Always found them very rattly, but gotta give it credit where credit's due. They are probably one of the best in the market for this size of an 18-volt SDS drill. I know this is the condition you normally would be getting them in, all battered up like this here and still running. What year is she? Can't even tell. This one's a 2021 machine. So nearly 4 years of work done already, and it's hard work for this fella. He's actually given us quite a bit of work, quite a bit of abuse, and it is taking it. So wouldn't be a fan of the sound of them, but the inside of the gearbox gives very little trouble. The actual connector on this here stator going onto the controller is probably the weakest point of it. If they burn up like this here one, they can produce that fault, or if they're overworked, you can end up melting or burning out the stator. But it is a replaceable part for only €30. So mightn't be that great a sound, but they're a decent machine, especially for the money. That's that one, ready to go again. And sure, it wouldn't be a nice long video if there wasn't a wee Instafix thrown in. The S&K 23 gauge nailer. Customer says it just needs a new firing pin. So we'll see if we can quickly get one thrown on here. The 23 gauge nailers, they're a headless pinner, tiny little nails. You'd think the pins would last forever, but they're that fine, eventually the tips of them just wear out. I'm assuming that's what the problem here is anyway. Not even worn out. Actually snapped. Broken tip off completely. There are the tiny wee nails on it. A lot of the time what happens is people fit them the wrong way around. See the little arrow on it? That's the direction they're meant to go on. A lot of the time people fit them the wrong way around, so they're putting the blunt end onto the timber and the sharp end onto the tip of the pin. The pin's always going onto the sharp blade of the nail and starts to wear it out. They are actually sighted. They're a headless pin, so there's nothing on the back of it to mark as a head. But this here backside is just flatter. Still a sharp edge, but it's still flat for the pin to actually drive it. Then the front then has a chamfer, an actual edge cut onto it, so that's a sharp point. Fit them the wrong way around and the pin wears out 10 times faster. Right, tip is at least out of it. And we do have some spare parts for it. So the driver, talking about €26 plus the VAT. That's with the sellotip. It's just two taped together actually. Get a bit of oil on it as well. And then make sure you're putting it in the right way. Actual grooves go to the bottom. Also just put a little bit onto there. And just line it up again. Nope, doesn't want to go on. There we go. Back a little bit thran, but got there on the end. Air guns generally are a lot simpler to work on, plus they're a lot more reliable. But getting spare parts can be the biggest problem. This brand S&K be more budget friendly brand, but it can be hard to get parts for them sometimes. One new firing pin fitted to an S&K 23 gauge headless pinner. Now, give it a quick test out. You can just shoot it onto here, or you can just use it for target practice. That's her. Right, another Makita SDS drill. Same one, 18 volt DHR242. What's wrong with this one? Simple fix. It's not ticking or holding the butt. We've seen this one enough times now, we know what it is. Nice, quick and easy fix. You can tell by the end of it, rubber cap's worn out. Take that off. All of a sudden holds the bit. These caps wear down. If you keep drilling right into the hole and wearing away the cap, it eventually starts pushing further and further down on the tool holder until it's sitting in the up position all the time. Very easy problem to fix. Either just remove the cap completely to get you up and running. What you want to do is just replace it. This is all you need. Part number 286288/8. One little rubber cap. Swap that out. That'll fix your problem. Let's just put a wee drop of grease in there. Make sure it's not getting too dry. That's it. It's a very quick and easy fix. What's that? €2 or €3 for a wee cap. Probably the cheapest one today. Right, next up is a cordless Makita grinder. This one could be a lost cause. It's not sounding healthy anyway. And it's clearly done quite a bit of work. 2019. It's not had an easy life anyway. Well, it's trying to start, but it's also shutting down, so I don't know if this will be feasible. Crack her open and see what the stator's like. If that started to melt or burn, forget about it. Actually, it's not too bad. It has been rubbing quite a lot actually. I'll give that a quick wee rub down. Right, I think it's the same crack as normal. Old, it's been abused, and the stator's moved, or at least it's loose. Right, we might or might not get away with this. We'll just have to see. So she's been rubbing up on here, causing a little bit of damage. Some of the laminate's actually delamed or something, sticking out. Right, we'll see if we can pack this out. Give it a quick wee clean here first, and then see if we can get her up and running. Now, no fancy repairs here. Just a piece of paper. First off, just change over the switch again. Put it to the right side. And we'll pack this out. So this is moved down this way, so we want to push it back up this way. And all I'm using is a piece of paper. I'm not even going to do a whole lot of cleaning on this, just want to see if I can get it up and running as little as possible. Four folds, it might be a little too much. Yeah, keep her at 3. That should be enough. Controller still could be bad in this. It might just be starting up and then just shutting down, but we'll not know to take the rub out. Now you might think, a very bodged job putting it about a paper. Well, it is. But then it's only plastic holding the field anyway, so it doesn't really make all that much of an odds. Replacing the whole body is going to cost you 20 or 30 euro. It mightn't even be any advantage. A little bit of paper, it's a quick and easy fix. And a lot of the times it will get you up and running again. We'll have to find out if it's going to work this time. Center that up. Press it on. And give it a quick test. In other words, no. Too much damage. Oh, hold on. Why is it only showing 1 bar? Maybe that's the problem. Try one that's fully charged, maybe. Is it any better? No. Right. That is a no-go. But all we did was stick a bit of paper onto it. So, we've nothing really to lose. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. More than likely, the wee Hall effect sensor gone on the actual stator, or the rotor, the actual magnets on it are that weak, taking too much draw to get it to run. Either way, she ain't going to be worth fixing. And another Makita saw. This one is the 5704, or there's a 2007 saw. And that is why you always hold on to them as you're plugging them in. You never know what's going to have a bad switch and it's locked in the on position. Especially the grinders, they kick that much they can actually flip around on the bench, hold the handle whenever you start them up. Never have your finger near any blades. That's a faulty switch. Quite common. They can fail off and they can fail in the on position. This one's in the on position. Yeah, it's actually broken here too, look. So it's just a simple switch on off. It's only the live going through it, neutral is wired in direct. So whenever they fail, they're either going to fail and they won't switch on, or they can micro weld the contacts and just stay burnt on. If they're being put under a heavy load in the on position, they're using it for a long time and it's overheating, drawing a lot of power, they can micro weld the contacts in the on position. So you let go of the switch and it just keeps on running. The only way to fix it is to change the switch. You could pop it open and clean it to contacts, but these aren't that expensive, so better off just changing it. Plus, it's a lot safer whenever they weld on like that. These things only cost about €15, so it's well worth just replacing it. It couldn't be easier to do. 2 leads, I mean, it doesn't matter which way you wire it on. So anybody could do this at home, even if they're not confident with the electrics or worried about switching wires around. That is just a little washer. Just goes on easier if it's facing up. Now, it's very cheap, an easy fix. It leaves the machine an awful lot safer to use. Now when I plug it in, it doesn't switch on unless you pull the trigger. That's her, ready for work again. Now for another golden oldie Makita. This one is the HR3000C. Then I was on before. Let's just check that number out. €120 was spent on it. Not good. Burnt out. So armature's gone. Needs an armature anyway. Brushes. I don't think these come with bearings either, so we'll need bearings on it. We'll just price this thing up first and see how long it was on the last time. Right. This is looking to be a bit too expensive, especially for this age of a machine. It's obviously done quite a bit of work. Got a tool holder the last time, but that's over a year ago, and now it's burnt out the motor. Change the motor, the brushes and the bearings, you're looking at about €180 to €200 to be honest. Getting a bit too much to be honest, after spending 120 as well. It's getting a lot of money. But more so than that, the field for this here 110 volt version is actually no longer available, so don't want to be buying in an armature and then it also needing a field. Well, I'll know whenever I strip it apart if it needs a field. If I do that, it's definitely not going to be worth fixing, or it can't be fixed. The field's not available. But even at that, even at just the armature, it's getting too expensive, and then if the field ever does fail in it, this can't be fixed anyway. So this one is just getting too risky. Next up is another Workzone. It's bad enough to be getting one in a week, let alone two in the same day. Let's see what's wrong with it. It's a bit slack in the chuck anyway. But it's flapping around all over the place, but it is running. And it does hammer. Wonder if this is, oh, I suppose maybe that was chisel the reason. Yeah. Right, we'll have a go at this. Looks to be just a tool holder. It's not letting go of the bit. Right, this will either be a simple fix or no fix. Just like I say, no parts available. This is another Aldi machine, Parkside, or Workzone, sorry. Parkside's Lidl. It's actually a new Lidl out beside us out in Cairn. Big store as well. Just opened last week. Must get a rerun out to it someday. That'll save me going to Buncrana or Derry anymore. Right, why is this not releasing? Oh, it might be the chisel itself, not the drill. Cheap drill and a cheap drill chisel maybe, or drill butt. It's not even a chisel. That's the butt out, or the ball out. Yeah, that's metal there. Little bits of metal in it. It's never a good sign. Do I want to go into this? So this is jammed inside of this. More than likely it's either mushroomed or the striker smashed and destroyed the two. Either way, this has to come out. The way to get it out is to knock it out from the other side. So I have to take apart the tool holder to take this out. But do I want to? Do I really want to do this? I don't. But we're going to give it a go anyway. Just on the off chance it is only the chisel or the bit. Nah, more than that, look. Actual indexing disc is gone too. So without that, there's nothing to hold the ball. Is that even similar to any other brand? Not really. Maybe a DeWalt. I was hoping there was going to be a circle up on here, but there's not. There's nothing. Right, last ditch attempt. Stick this in the vise and give it a tug. That's not shifting. Well, she's shifting now. Now the tool is actually in. Something with a bit more mass to it. Eventually, after enough persuading, she finally shifted. The problem is a bit of both. So the actual drill bit, she mushroomed. You can see it's all rounded over, or rolled over here. And it's all dented on the top. It's cup shaped now. That's gone, but also the tool holder. Keyways are still in there. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. There's a chip out of the striker. It's actually broken off on one side. So the striker is damaged. So this might now take a chisel or a bit, but it's not going to be a cure. So all you really do is put it back together again and leave the customer to do whatever he wants with it. Right, also, that's your retainer or indexing disc. Got a chance the DeWalt. See if it will hold it, or see if it'll fit. Might not. Nah, won't. Right. Wasting time on it now, but we'll give it a go. Just grind it off the inside of this to see if I can match the actual hole on this one. Hopefully it might work. Oh, it does. Goes on anyway. It's a start. But will it grip this ball? Look at that. DeWalt saves the day, or at least saves it for a little while. That on there, then that, and the clip. that on. And your sleeve. Not much you can do with that. And your rubber cap. Now, see if it holds a bit now. Nah, must be damage inside. She's going halfway down and then jamming up. So no joy. This Workzone might only be a tool holder, but she ain't worth fixing. Now we got another Draper machine, and this has got a mix match lead. Two leads jointed together. I'm assuming the lead's the problem, but I'll not know until I think the lead might be the problem. It's not connected to anything. Completely burnt through. It's alright. If this one only needs a lead, it'll be worth fixing. Draper Stormforce DTL S053 1YF. No year on it. Nice enough looking wee machine for a DIY job. Clearly done a bit of work. But this handle could be a handling. Need on here, but I have to take all of this off, even down to the brush holder. Maybe it'll come off over the top of it. Even the cap for filling it with oil or grease, that's in the way too. That should be screwed onto the metal gearbox though. There we go. Not as bad as I thought. So, one new cable. Hopefully this is all it needs now. There's never any guarantee with these types of tools, cheap and cheerfuls. You're laughing if it's just a lead. Sometimes there could be other things wrong. You're just not going to know until you switch it on, which is very likely when they've done this amount of work. This brand Draper would only be a DIY tool at best, you know. Not to say it's bad or anything, but it's not going to do a heavy amount of work. But this man's actually sent on this, the cheaper one, and an old Ryobi tool as well. So we must be doing a fair bit of drilling with these things. Now he's doing a lot of work. It's not doing too bad for the amount of work it's done. Aye. See if that sorts her out. Now, will she run? It actually does. Just a lead. That's her. And that's how much work this thing's actually doing. See it there? Insulation beads. This man is pumping cavities with insulation. In other words, he's using these here drills to put on what, a 32mm hole or something into cavity walls and drill them all throughout the outside of the house and then pumping it with them insulation beads. So these are actually doing quite a bit of work. That's not doing too bad for a wee Draper DIY machine. Doing an actual industrial job. That's her. One new lead. Gets her up and running. Pan sticking out. So it goes in. It just sticks out again. These things are generally just an absolute waste of time and money. These D20 Draper ones, there's basically about 10 or 15 parts in it. The magazine's one part, the assembly up here for the nail guides one part, the cover's a part, the motor's a part, gearbox is a part. Actually, they might be even just one part. And a couple of wee small bits and pieces, your trigger, your rafter hook, then you've got a big chamber and a little chamber. That's it. Everything is grouped into assembly, so all the parts cost at least 50 or 60 euro just for one wee part. You might only need a piston or the pin, but you buy the whole mini chamber or the big chamber, whichever one it is, and they're costing about what, 40 or 50 euro, maybe even 60 euro or 70 for the big chamber. Buy the gun for what, 200 euro. By the time you take on the price of the part and the labour and actually strapping this fairly annoying gun to take apart, you're onto basically half the price of the gun every time. So generally they're not really worth it, and I really don't even want to open this thing because you're going to waste more time messing around opening and closing the thing as well. Somebody's been in this already as well though. There's a screw missing here that's been stripped out, and there's different screws up here. So I'm not the first to have this. So basically this man already knows this isn't worth fixing or can't be fixed, but yet he's still leaving it on here again. I'll check the pin first to see if that's just maybe disconnected. Might be. Kind of hoping it wouldn't be. Right, pin is disconnected from the actual piston up in here, which is a common problem for these cheaper ones. Right, we'll have a wee go. Covered in grease as well. Fairly basic on the inside. Nice wee controller on it. Somewhat potted. And a few wee micro switches and sensors and that. Does the job when they're working, but when they stop working, they're just torture. Right, not sure if this is just leaking grease or somebody's just topped up the grease. Maybe that's why it was opened. Or the Makita, sometimes you can get it firing better again by actually taking it apart and re-greasing all the seals. Sometimes helps. Right, pull off this back cover. See if we can get the pan out through the back. Right, not worth fixing. Pin hasn't just come off, it's actually snapped. So that ain't going to be worth it. Have to replace this whole top chamber up here. I think that's costing 50 or 60 euro. Plus labour and your VAT, you're on to at least 100 euro. You do all that, the thing still mightn't even fire right. So this one, I'm just going to leave. He's got work out of it. It's not a fresh machine. I'm not going to go spending a lot of money on it. Because if it doesn't work, and it still has other problems, it's me going to be out money. Because the customer won't pay for it then, and I'm going to be stuck with parts I will never use again. I would safely say this boy already knows this. Now, where did that come from? This does not feel right. If you're able to get that pan on its own, it'd be no problem. It only cost what, probably 10 or 20 euro. It might be worth fixing. But whenever you have to buy whole part assemblies for a simple thing like that, plus the hassle of dismantling all this as well, to take that out, to actually replace it. Because somebody's not going to be happy if you buy a whole mini chamber and you only just take out the pan and replace it. You want all the parts fitted. But to fit all them parts is even more labour again. So that is just not going to work. So that is just not worth fixing. The Draper, what do you call it? D20 nail gun. Too expensive of parts, you have to buy whole assemblies. Next up, we have an old Makita. There's an old HR4000C. Was that 1990 something?
looks like maybe 1998 or 1999. Let's see what's wrong with this one. Yeah, I know they have soft start, but that's a little bit too soft to start. First thing to check is the plug. Just in case it's been wired wrong. Nah, the odd time somebody might wire it onto the earth and it'll cause it to run half speed. That and the soft start feature might get it to start off very, very slowly. It ain't that. Probably going to need a new plug as well, because that one's a wee bit loose. It's not clicking into place. Next, you're looking at the controller. More than likely, it's not going to be the brushes anyway. Brushes will cause it to stop or wear out. If they're sparking or running badly, it's generally going to be a motor. This is just running slow. See, the actual speed control is faulty on it. This is the speed controller itself. 361230-8, made in Japan. But dirty. Doesn't look bad. Obviously something's not right with it. That's just a cover. Right, we'll see how much it is and see if we have one in stock. Right, all bad news for this one. It's not in stock. It is an expensive part, but worst of all, it's also no longer available. Gone. They've discontinued this year. They had changed the model of it, but even the newer one now is actually discontinued. No longer available. Can't buy it in, and I don't have it in stock. So unless I have a second hand one out in the container maybe. This one's that old. I don't even have stock of these parts. A few of the O-rings not for it, but definitely not the electronics anyway. Not for this age of machine. Wrong hammer, they're all robbed anyway. Do I have any more? There we go. Now this thing must be lying out in that container a long time. I don't even have a record of it on the computer. Looked up the old name and number on here. It's not on the computer system. The reason I wanted to look it up is because it doesn't have a voltage on it. That's all worn away, can't make it out. Don't want to use the wrong voltage because, well, will it matter? If this was 110, you put it on, no, it doesn't actually matter. If this was 110, you're putting it onto 240, you could blow the controller, and these are no longer available, so you don't want to destroy it. But even if it's 240 and you put it onto a 110 volt, it's not going to matter. It's going to run slow anyway, or not at all, with the lower voltage. So even if this is 240, it's not going to matter. So we'll just go ahead with this one. Actually, the number will be on the side anyway. It should be the same model number on the part, or part number. And I hope the controller, yeah, is still on here. Yeah, 2308. That's it. That's okay. That'll do my job. And quite easy to change too. All wee connectors, and then one little probe down on here. So get rid of this. And maybe just give that a quick clean because it's a wee bit greasy. It's a nice easy swap for this one. Hopefully this still works as well. To all I know, this could have been the reason it was scrapped off. Get rid of that one. Install your switch wires. These are just the live and neutral coming from the switch. A little bit tight to get in there. Now, see if it works. Nice one. It's actually running full speed again. Look at that. It doesn't take too long to build it up either. It's also missing the brush doors, but that's not that big a deal. You can survive without them. It's going to be hard to use with a faulty speed controller, so that's the main thing. And most of the parts for this thing are still available. By the looks of it, it's only just this here speed controller, maybe a few other small parts. Now if this one had had the old doors, I would have used them, but I'm not going to go ordering on new doors, new brush cover caps just for this here. The caps are held in by these here screws. This is just a cover over the top. And that's her, up and running again with a second hand speed controller, an old HR4000C. If you have one and it's giving speed control problems, you're more than likely not going to be able to get one. But that's one up and running anyway, with some salvaged parts. Now, there's another oldie you don't see on as often. An old Ryobi hammer. The proper blue Ryobi, not the modern yellow stuff. This here is the ED450. A very good old Ryobi hammer. Name's actually rubbed off it. This one's from 2007. Nearly 20 years old, this thing. The plug's seen better days. Got a wee bit squashed. Still goes on. The hammer doesn't work. Right. We'll go the obvious stuff first. It's an old machine, so I might have just popped the brushes. Doesn't actually look like it's done an awful lot. It's actually quite fresh looking for these things. Now, these aren't a DIY machine. Yellow stuff now, Ryobi, is all DIY. It's not really worth using at all, unless you're at home. Now that's well worn out. it is the brushes because you can see the line. But the old Ryobi stuff was professional grade, industrial. So any of this here blue stuff was proper heavy duty, and it lasted really well. And it wasn't even all that expensive when it was available to the public. When it was blue, it was still cheaper than some of the other brands. The quality was way better, and these here were one of their top machines. There we go. Just needs one set of brushes. Of course, the problem with this being old blue Ryobi, parts are no longer available for it. So everything for this is actually gone, including the brushes, but there might be some copy ones you can get. Don't know if I have any left in stock, so I'm just going to have to see. So the old blue ones are no longer available for parts, and the modern yellow ones don't sell any parts anyway. So these are all the parts I have left of this old Ryobi hammer, ED450. Everything else is gone now, you can't get, so this is the last of the stock. There's another Ryobi box there, but there's even less than that. That's just general stuff for all different sort of models. They're about too big. That's the same. And they're the same. Maybe I don't even have these. That's the same. Got some con rods, pistons, O-rings, seals. A few other odds and ends that'll probably never be used. Oh, are we in luck? We are in luck. That's them there. The very last set by the looks of it. Still some O-rings as well for the actual piston and striker. But these look like the last set of brushes. And I have to go online and see if I can get anywhere else still selling these, because these aren't genuine. These are actually a copy set, but they're for the Ryobi, this Ryobi, for the ED450. You'd still go through a few sets of these. These here were very, very popular with hire shops, and you'd still get them in from hire shops, so that tells you how tough these things were. Hire shops are very sore machines, so if they're able to run for 20 years for a hire shop, you're easily going to run for a customer for just as long, if not longer. So you'll still get these in for repair, even though they're now obsolete and the parts are gone, but you'll still get the odd one in just for a set of brushes, just like this one. Very odd time will still do a service in these things if the parts are available for stripping it down, but less and less now. Sometimes you can just be wasting your time stripping it all down, because it only takes one single little part to make it not worth fixing. If that part's not available, you can have just wasted your time. So unless you know exactly what's wrong and the exact part you need, and if you know if you have it, otherwise it's not really worth doing. But for a set of brushes, it's well worth it. Listen to the power of that thing. They were fantastic machines. Some of the smaller Ryobi hammers, the older ones, would have a small motor and then a big massive hammer section. A lot of hammers, every brand would have a big hammer section and a smaller motor. These here just had a huge motor but a smaller hammer section. Still plenty good enough for the size of the machine. Nothing generally goes wrong up here unless it needed a service. Because of the big motor, these things were able to just do loads of work. But that's another old one, up and running again, the Ryobi Blue ED450. Now an oldie, an old Hitachi drill. These are fantastic machines. Back when Hitachi was properly made, before they became the darker green. Better now that they're Hikoki, but these were the really good ones. They're really old Hitachi. Hitachi Koki, Tokyo, Japan. So that's the original name. Then it became Hitachi Koki, became Hikoki. This is the VTV 18, a very old precision drill. Not even sure the year this one. Same as the Makita, you know, the really good ones, which had the hammer action mode knob up here, the steel ring. These things are just basically impossible to kill. If you turn this around and put it onto hammer action, which is just your same as a modern drill, your rattle mode. But this thing, just an on off switch, nothing else. Only needs to go forward, doesn't need to go backwards. This is back before reverse was even on a drill. Right. It's a bit sparky. And she doesn't always turn on either. That's okay. That's just brushes. A little bit sparky. Whenever it doesn't switch on, apart from when you give it a bang, means the brushes are worn out. Look at the old switch it's even on it. Be surprised if you can get that anymore. But the problem ain't the switch. The problem is just these. Now these are old, so careful you don't break the brush holder as you're taking it out. Ain't much room to wiggle it out. Get your wee specialist screwdrivers on there too. See if you can get it in underneath. There we go. And there's the problem. No brushes left on there. Maybe it's just sticking. Could be just age. Might actually just be the brush sticking. It's still got a chamfer on it. Yeah, that's not done much. That'll look cracked there, but it's not. That's basically brand new. I wonder if it is brand new. So this is an old drill. It looks to have done more work than this. Unless he's already changed these brushes and they're just sticking in the holder. Give it a wee light file, smooth them down. Yeah, see in there? There's a little bit of corrosion. So let's say these were changed before. The old ones could have been stuck as well and they were rusted on. I just went and put in a new set and didn't clean this bit off. Just make sure this end, this actually takes the little spade, the male side of the spade. Make sure it's facing the hole. Don't put it in that way. Look at that. There's actually nothing wrong with it at all. Just put that back into the holder, the hole facing up towards this little slot. There's nothing actually wrong with this thing at all. Just make sure you get that spade in correctly too. Do the other side too. One sticking, the other side will be as well. Now that one's not as bad. There's still a little bit of corrosion on there. Yeah, I'd say these were just changed. First thing you want to check when you get an old drill like this, especially if it's sparking or not starting up, but especially if it starts up when you give it a slap. Check the brushes, make sure they're not sticking. Seems like a very simple thing, but you'd be surprised how often that's the problem. There's even the original lead too, still has the molded plug. That's her, running a lot smoother. She's still a little bit sparky, but not much you can do about that for the age of it. Not even actually sparking that much. I was only sparking a little. It could be just them brushes just still bedding on. So that'll probably get better, but it's still running a lot better like that. That's her, one old Hitachi VTV 18, just with the brushes filed. Now, the last one for today might not be as quick a fix as I was hoping it was going to be, or at least these Hitachi. At least these Hitachi, I was going to say Cookie there. This is a Hitachi one, but these, same thing as a Hikoki gun. These are generally take a long time, or a bit more complicated to do, so mightn't be as quick. So this is the NR1890 DR. Right, so the Hitachi must have been a different model. The Hikoki one's a different number. So this is the older Hitachi or Hikoki gun. No year on it, but I suppose it's going to be older than the Hikoki name. Hikoki just basically comes from Hitachi, which used to be actually called, or was Hitachi, then they were bought out by Koki, so there were Hitachi Koki, so they combined the names to make Hikoki. Then they bought Metabo, so if you're in the States, Hikoki is actually now called Metabo HPT, which is Hitachi Power Tools Metabo, Hitachi Power Tools. That's where the Metabo HPT comes from. They're all Hitachi basically, even the Metabo stuff. This Hitachi, this one I don't think is firing the nails. Oh, this is what I think it is. This could be the easiest fix today. This might yet be a very quick fix. It's the wrong nails. I was going to say it's the wrong angle, but is it? Actually, these look wrong. No, that's not right. They're too steep. And they do match. What's going on here? Hold on, look this thing up. Maybe this is it for nailer. Maybe it's not just a Hitachi one. NR 1890 DR. I have to look this one up. Right, no, I'm wrong. These are the right nails. This is an older gun. This is the older Hitachi or Metabo 21 degree plastic collated full head nail. So they're normally a 34 degree clipped head on all the modern nailers now. The Hitachi and the Metabo HPTs, they take the 34 degrees. This one, for some reason, was a 21 degree nailer, the plastic collated. These wouldn't be as popular or easy to find here in Ireland. You still do get them, but they're hard to find, so they wouldn't have been a popular nailer. Never seen one of these before. Didn't even know they actually done one. So if it's not the nails, what's the problem? Right, something wrong with the pin actually. The pin is sticking out. But it's not got a flashing fault light. See if it retracts here. To get it to retract, you have to actually push it down and shoot a nail, but you can't do that obviously because the pin's in the way. The probe doesn't go on, so you have to somehow push the probe on whilst avoiding the nail, which can be a little bit tricky. Well, that one done. Does she shit? It does. And quite well too. Right. Take it out and test it here. Stick her on bump mode. Right. It's definitely firing. Right, I'm gonna have to ring the customer. Let's see where this one was left on. Right. So, as it turns out, it was the easiest fix of the day. That was it. It was on bump mode. Customer says it fell a few feet. I think he said it fell about 7 feet or so. Must have been on scaffolding or something. It did work, but then it stopped, and he actually opened it up. He must have put it into maintenance mode. So whenever you go in maintenance mode, she tries to fire a few times. You'll hear the motor spin, just a touch to rotate things. You do that 2 or 3 times and then the pan will fire and it won't retract. It'll stay sticking out. He says he had it opened, must have got it in maintenance mode, and then he couldn't actually get it to fire then afterwards. Thought there was a problem. But that was it. It was on maintenance mode. All you have to do to get it in maintenance mode is just get it to try and fire with the pan sticking out. Just means whenever you plunge it down, you just get the edge of the probe only and pull the trigger and you'll see the pan go back in. And that's it, ready to fire. So that's it. That is actually all that's wrong with this thing, as it was on maintenance mode. Don't know if he put it in maintenance mode or a fault with the gun or from falling or whatever. Didn't actually see if he could remember definitely putting it into maintenance mode. That's it. Apparently that's all that's wrong with it. That was the easiest fix today. But he did say it did take a fall, so I'm going to take it out and fire a few more nails in it. Just see if there's anything else wrong with it. But you fired that strip no problem, so hopefully the rest will be fine. Now, the man who sent this in is actually down the country. And I don't know how he knew to send it in here, because we're not actually taking in any tools from further afield. It's our own customers only we're doing the repairs for. So I work for a hardware shop and this whole setup is just for their own customers. So other people sending other stuff in that's not bought here can't really be fixing. So I had to tell them not to be sending anything else in either. We'll test these here now and make sure there's nothing else wrong with it now that it's in here. Just stick it on the bump mode as well, just to speed things along. Fall or no fall, there's not a thing wrong with that. Fired every single nail without a problem. Even these older ones, even the one I never even knew existed, still one of the most reliable guns there is, if you ask me. These cookies are the ones to be buying. Fantastic tools, especially if you could take a drop like that and only just go into maintenance mode. That's her. It actually is the easiest fix today, just needed to get the pan back. That's her. Anyway folks, that's as many as you can get done today. That's actually a good big dent in the pile out there, but there's still a lot more to do. Anyway folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this quick fire tool repair video. Plenty more to come with all the stuff that's out there. Anyway, if you're liking the video folks, as always, give us a wee like and a follow down below in the bottom. And if there's any questions of this stuff, you can drop us a comment as well. Anyway, for now, I'll chat to you later.